We're here at Pack Fair today, guys, doing something a little bit different. We decided as of late to change it up a little bit with scenery. I'm always at Rabina. You've seen some stuff out and around. We thought we'll get into Pack Fair, we'll do a vlog, but what we'll do is we'll actually talk through what we're doing in more detail in terms of exercises and variations. So, flat dumbbell press, one of the key things is getting the dumbbells into position and not actually losing strength and doing it safely. So I'm gonna demonstrate here, I'm gonna do a working set. When we warm up, we wanna make sure, again, dynamic stretches, nothing too static unless you've got an injury, and then we're gonna get specific. So if we're doing a pressing movement, we're gonna do a pressing movement, and we're gonna start off lighter, say 10 reps, and then we're gonna jump it to 5 reps, and we're gonna go a little bit heavier, and then 3 reps, so on and so forth. So between 3 and 4 warm-ups, enough to warm up the body, but not enough to overtrain or start to fatigue yourself for your working set. So dumbbell flat press, if I had to choose one exercise to build the chest, this would be it. It's a compound movement, chest, shoulders, anterior, front, and tricep. So guys, you wanna make sure you deadlift them up into position. You're gonna get them on your knees, you're gonna lie back. As soon as your back hits the bench, your feet hit the floor, you're gonna drive up using your triceps and your front delts, and that way it's gonna be a lot easier to do. All right, here we go. Shoulder blades back and down, retracted and depressed, and we're gonna come down as deep as I can. There we go, like that. Keeping them over the chest. No point in them over the head or over the stomach. Breathe at the top, create intra-abdominal pressure. There we go. All right, I'll have to shut up now because I've got to get these out. I'll give you one more for fun. Guys, arms straight, lock them, knees up, dumbbells to the knees, standing up, and deadlift them down. No need to throw them around. If you're throwing them around, you're an idiot, or you can't lift them. I'm serious. There's no need to get too erratic when you're training. Be present, be very, have some urgency about you, but there's no need to go throwing things around and screaming and making loads of noise, quite frankly. It's just not necessary. So when you're in, you're in. When you're off, don't sit on the machine to rest. Have a little chat, 1 to 2 minutes rest, maybe up to 3 minutes on a big compound, and then we're back in again. All right. Hydration, guys. Make sure you're hydrated beforehand, minimum 3 liters a day. Probably need a little bit more in Australia, but small sips in between you're working out. You don't want to have loads of stuff in your stomach. And as for pre-workouts, well, a little bit of caffeine, but honestly, my opinion, this is just my opinion, pre-workouts overstimulate me, and quite frankly, I just think they're a waste of money and you don't need them. Anyway, up to you. So what we're gonna do now is we're doing a chin up, so it's a full upper body day, guys. So it's not just a push or a chest or a shoulders, it's full upper. So I'm gonna go from a push to a pull, isolation, mix it up, as you'll see as we go through. So now we're gonna do an underhand chin up. So chin up, underhand this way, okay? We've got the normal or the pull up if you like, which is more of an overhand grip. And then we've got the neutral. So we're gonna go underhand, it's gonna encompass a little bit more of the bicep. It's gonna be a little bit easier for that exact reason. So we're gonna get up here and I'm gonna show you what to do. Once again, we don't wanna have the back too arched, right? We wanna make sure that the knees are coming forward underneath so we can maintain balance. And we wanna make sure the head is neutral, we're not jerking on the bar. So if you need to, you can use assistance, or you can use bands, elastic bands as well, and that'll just give you a little bit of assistance on the way up. So I'll demonstrate here. So what we wanna do is, first of all, when we're on, biggest thing, guys, scapula is retracted. So protracted, retracted. Feet, even if you're shorter or taller, bring them slightly forward, and then all you're trying to do is bring your elbows to your waist and the chest to the bar. So it's a stretch on the way down and a squeeze on the way up. Don't try and jerk up or pull. Keep it nice and smooth, keep it controlled, especially if you're after muscle building. All right, once again, I'm gonna shut up and get this done. Grip tight, grip tight. All right, guys, and we're gonna do 3 sets of those on this particular day, 10 reps. We're gonna go linear progression each week. We're gonna try and go up in repetitions, and then if we got to a point where that was a lot of reps, we'd add weight to the movement. Many ways to progress, guys. Rest time, sets, reps, quality, form, volume, frequency, intensity, the list goes on. So that's our second exercise. We'll see you on exercise 3. Take a bit of a rest break. Third exercise, guys, shoulder press, seated machine shoulder press. Because we've been going to different gyms as of lately in the EMF brand, sometimes we're coming against or up against different brands itself. So we've got Precor here today. We're trying to find similar variations to what we normally use, but ultimately, how would you go about putting a weight on a piece of equipment that you don't use regularly? Like, how do you keep that consistency? What if you're traveling? Well, ultimately, guys, if you can load a muscle, you can grow a muscle. So use the RPE. That's a rated perceived exertion scale. So if it's between a 7 and a 9, if 7 means 3 reps in reserve and 9 is 1, then you're going to be in the ballpark. So with the seated machine shoulder press, if you're doing it on a machine, you want to make sure you're taking the movement just below the lowest point, which is about the earlobe. 1 in 2 people, don't quote me on this, but a lot of people have a shoulder injury, especially guys. They're trying to lift too heavy all the time. Shoulder's a great joint, it's a universal joint, but it's very unstable. There's a lot going on with it attached to the scapula, so we want to make sure that we're always in this retract and depressed position. We want to make sure that we've not got too much weight on to the point where we're like, we've got our shoulders and elevated around our ears. So we want to be shoulders back and down. We want to make sure we're using a correct load, which is challenging, but we can use proper full range form. So I'm going to make sure the seat is appropriate to me. Aaron's just been on, who's filming. He's a bit taller, so I'm going to put it up a little bit because I'm not as tall as Aaron. I'm going to make sure, again, that I can take it from just below the point without straining. I'm going to have my feet anchored, width. I'm going to make sure the ankles are under the knees, shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to get it up straight away into the full range. I'm going to retract or adjust the shoulder blades. Bum is on the bench, lower back, slight natural arch. And I'm going to press, thinking about squeezing through the bar and punching up through the ceiling. So here we go for 12 reps. Once again, you can breathe at the top or the bottom, but try and keep pressure intra-abdominally using the breath. So I normally wouldn't talk through these, but I am for you guys. But once again now, I'm getting a lot of upper chest, triceps, shoulders. Here we go. A few more reps for you. And that for me probably still comfortably a 6 RPE, so we'll go up in weight next time. Again, still a compound movement, multi-joint, multiple muscle group. We'll have at least 1.5 to 2 minutes because it's a machine, high recovery, low risk. We'll gauge that and then we'll go in for a second set. See you at the next exercise. Okay, so 4th exercise, I think it is, if I can count to 10. We're doing a chest-supported wide grip row. So again, we're going overhand, or for those who are really interested, pronated, neutral, supinated, etc. Now, we're doing a single arm variation, unilateral, really good to fix up muscular imbalances within the body or identify where there's weaknesses. So I would often recommend starting with the weaker side. If they're both pretty similar, you can oscillate, but usually there will be a weaker side and I would start with that. Grip strength, again, you want to try and use that as much as possible. You want to refrain from straps unless you really have to or until you're getting to the really big barbell movements. So if you have a good machine like this, we've got the good old hammer strength. We've got a really good grip, and you can also use a bit of chalk and a little bit of a towel as well to help you out. So with this one here, we're trying to work the lats, okay? So we've done a horizontal push, we've done a vertical pull, we've done a vertical push, now we're doing a horizontal pull. So there's a method to the madness here for those of you who are scientific zealots. So biggest thing with this, a lot of people when they're rowing like this, right? And they're like coming right back. And ultimately, you're just wasting your time because the role of the lat is flexion extension, other than most things, and we're trying to get the elbow to the waist. And I've talked about this a lot. So we're trying to pull back and the elbow to the waist and come in. We can turn a little bit, but we want to remain square. Otherwise, we're just pulling away from the machine and we're just going to use our biceps. So I'm going to show you what I mean here specifically. This is the form we want to use. We want to keep it tight. We don't want to be swinging on weights. We want to make sure we're trying to isolate and activate the lats. It's a pull, so we'll be using the lats, we'll be using the rear delts and the biceps. So let's jump on, let's have a look at it. So I'm going to start with the weaker side. For me, that's on the left. Make sure if you're using a chest supported row, it's mid to high chest, otherwise you're down here, or you're going to be up here on your stomach and your sternum. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of leverage. For me, the arm that's forward is a leg that's forward, and then I like to use my other leg to stabilize, and I'll use this here, which looks like a phallic-like object, like a penis, but it's not. and then we're going to row in the half, now you're lighting. So thumb over grip, because we've evolved, guys, and then elbow to the waist, stretching forward slightly, but the shoulder blade is still retracted. We've talked about this, I'm not protracting. Elbow to the waist, squeeze into the lower lat. Stretch, squeeze. That's how we develop the lower lat and really develop the lats in full. Here we go, let's go. Let me shut up now. Right, opposite side, quick break, reset the breath, reset the feet, stretch forward, shoulder blades back and down, stabilize, and there we go. Stretch forward, elbow to the waist, squeeze. Stretch, squeeze. So there we have it, guys. Probably for me about an RPE 8, creeping up there on that one. Again, 3 sets of either 8, 10 or 12. I'm up to 12. Next week I'll up the weight and go back to 3 sets of 8. So last compound movement for the day. After this we're going to get into some isolation and finish with a sick pump. All right guys, so we're almost there. We're onto the isolations now. So we're going with a dumbbell incline chest fly. Now you've got to be careful with these, okay? If you go too low at the wrong angle, you don't want to tear your pec off the insertion. So you want to make sure you go steady with the weight. You want a full range. You want to think about hugging a big tree. So you want a slight bend in the elbows. You're going to be coming mainly and hinging from the shoulders, because again, it's an isolation. You want a nice little stretch, and you want to think about a squeeze. Shoulder blades back and down once again. We're going to be going for around 12 reps for this one. Again, with the isolations, we're using a linear progression for the most part, sometimes a double as well, but we want a higher rep range now. We're isolating, so we're going to be using less load. Just want higher reps just to stimulate a little bit more muscle growth with this fiber type, and also get a really good pump, because why the hell not? That's what we're about, all right? Bodybuilders. So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to show you a set before we finish off with a superset on our arms. So again, deadlifting them up on the thighs. 30-degree incline on the bench, elbows under the wrist, joints always stacked, feet out, good. We're gonna set the shoulder blades back and down. I'm gonna squeeze the dumbbells, come down in a flying motion, get a stretch through the chest, and then think about a squeeze at the top. Stretch, and then a squeeze. And I'm gonna really think about contracting the chest, bending the elbows. Let's go. And if you get pain, change the angle on the wrists. And you might find, by just changing the angle, you can make the movement feel a whole lot better. All right, guys, we've got 3 sets of this. Again, 10, 12, 14 plus reps. Close to a failure. Again, between a 7 and 9 RPE, probably going around a 9 RPE. And then we're on to our last 2 exercises. Bis and tris, why not? It's a match made in heaven. We'll see you there for a sick pump to finish. I'm joking. All right, guys, so this one, I actually got off Jeff Nippard, or I first seen Jeff Nippard do this, so shout out to Jeff Nippard, amazing channel, amazing content. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a single arm cable tricep kickback. Now, a lot of the time with triceps, a lot of people, they shortcut the movement because they're not fully extending. So it's an elbow extension, hence the name extension, or a push down, layman terms. So when we come down, we want to make sure the elbows are slightly forward. We want to have a hinge in the hips, coming down, and we actually want to pull back and twist. So it's not so much about splitting, but more about actually getting that hinge and then a little bit of shoulder extension. And we're going to do the same thing here. So as we come back, Big Aaron's got it on a bit more than me. I'm just going to put it up. So start with the weaker side once again, okay? Lean into it, elbow up, and then we're going to think about hinging and then extending. So I'm going to hinge from the elbow, pointing the elbow up to the ceiling, and then trying to get my fist. I'm not trying to bend the wrist like this. I'm just trying to think about getting the back of my wrist up in the ceiling. So it's a stretch, hinge, squeeze, that top bit. So we're going to go for 12 to 15, probably a few more reps than that, because it's a little bit light. I like to train close to failure with a lot of these isolation movements, guys, and I recommend that is where you do failure, not on the big compound movements, especially not when you're starting out. Stay away from failure, spread the volume, and turn up and increase the frequency, the skill acquisition, so you can progress over time. All right, here we go. 3 more. Come on. And you will usually go to mental failure before mechanical, meaning you'll give up before you actually fail with the movement pattern. So elbow up and then squeeze. And I'm coming back, I'm getting a stretch through the tricep, extension, and then squeeze. Good. And we're gonna superset that with a plate curl in a minute. So I'll show you, but I'm gonna finish this. Big Aaron's behind the camera, he's doing a great job today. He's now my unofficial cameraman. All right, let's go. Whoa. Yep, a couple more, come on. There it is. And they should be absolutely on fire. Now, straight into it, guys. Plate curls. So again, just another variation, nothing magic about these at all. Again, a bicep curl like a tricep, very simple. So we want to think about hinging from the elbows, okay? So a lot of people are swinging, and they're swinging from the shoulder, and they're defeating the purpose. We want to be nice and strict, elbows slightly in front of the body, shoulder blades back and down, not fully retracted. And we're going to keep the wrist straight and hinge from the elbow. Plate curls is just a variation that we've not done in a while. And variation just adds a little bit of stimulus so we can keep progressing. And the isolation movements we will oscillate through a lot more frequently, especially as an intermediate and advanced lifter, more than the compound, because the body can learn the movement quicker. It's simple. We will change the variation usually every training block. All right, here we go. Come on. For all the bros out there who love a good pump, tricep, bicep, opposite muscle, agonist, antagonist. Why is he still speaking when he's lifting, you ask? Ooh, all for you. Here we go. Quality. Ooh. Don't twat yourself in the face with those. That one is biasing. Again, bicep, right? B, bi. 2 muscles, tricep, 3. This one more like a hammer curl, bit of a twist in there and a variation. So guys, that's pretty much it. But what we'll do is we're gonna finish this off, me and Aaron, get a sick pump. So that's what we do. And we're gonna get some food. We'll wrap it up there. We're in Pack Fair. It's a beautiful shopping center, as you will see, or as you would have seen in some of my other videos. We'll do a bit of a recap there for all of you when we're getting some food. And we'll talk a little bit about post-workout nutrition. So see you guys then. Guys, that is a wrap for Pack Fair today. I'm spitting out the camera, terrible. So it's a cool gym. It's a different feel. It's in a shopping center, which is very sort of like cosmopolitan, if you will, for a lack of better words. It's a lot of tourists, see a lot of different faces. It's a very pretty gym, and it's where a lot of people come to be seen, but nonetheless, it's a good gym. It's a great facility, and it's good to do something different. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna head over, we're gonna grab some food. We'll talk a little bit about post-workout nutrition, and let me quickly show you how beautiful this center is, because it is pretty cool. And I used to work here back in the day, actually, back in the day when I was working for Nike, and that's when I first ever went to Pack Fair Gym at EMF. And things have changed so much since then. But this shopping center, when I first came, was just day and night, and now it looks like a football stadium. Guys, check this place out. It is pretty cool. We've got it very, very good indeed. We've got Zara, Culture Kings, we've got Uniqlo, we've got all the international brands, we've got Kathmandu. Yeah, this reminds me of like somewhere like Old Trafford, apart from the weather's better. And soon, all going to plan, I'll be living just across the road. I will show you guys the new pad, we'll make a vlog when we come out. But aside from that, let's go get some food, some really good places in here. We'll wrap the video up. All right, we'll talk to you guys when we get to the restaurant. All right, so we're in. We've come to a place, a Chinese place. It's like a franchise called Yum Cha Noodle, which there is a few around. This was one of the first places I used to eat back in the day when I was here in Surfers Paradise, but now we're in Pack Fair. But look, this is a typical bodybuilding meal. I'm being very bro-ish here. Aaron's having a pan around. Well, this is one of my staples, right? This is chicken and rice. It sounds so simple, but trust me, it tastes amazing. Steamed chicken, rice. We've got a beautiful sweet soy sauce on there. We've got a little bit of greens, a little bit of chili garlic as well. And we've got some pork buns. quite a few calories here though, guys. Now, when you're on about post-workout nutrition, as a general rule of thumb, you want to prioritize protein and carbs, and you want to get something in within an hour. If you don't, you're not going to lose your gains. And it is more for performance athletes. So if you're someone who is an actual, elite athlete, you're working at a very high rate, or more of an endurance athlete, track and field, etc., that's when you're going to really need to prioritize your nutrition after your training. But for most people, and if you're here on this channel, you want to look better, you want to feel better, you want to make some gains, within an hour, I recommend getting at least 30 to 40 grams of a complete protein, and then at least with carbohydrates, 0.5 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight would be not a bad recommendation, guys, quite frankly. So anywhere from, the average person, 40 all the way up there to sort of like 100 grams plus carbs. So that way we're gonna refuel and replenish. We're gonna make sure we're taking advantage of the anabolic window or process. But again, if you eat outside of it, you're not gonna lose your gains. Not for most people anyway. It's more important to get your total daily protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And ideally, guys, you want complete protein from animal sources. If you are a vegan, you can definitely make that happen. You just have to combine different sources of plant foods to create a complete protein which has all the essential amino acids. So anyway, I've done enough talking on this video, guys. If you like the video, subscribe, hit that bell icon for more videos every week. Let us know, comment, what did you like, what did you not like, what do you want to see more of? And of course, until next time, guys, stay fearless. Let's enjoy this food out.